proven time and time again, I have no problem conversing with people and all that on subjects. But please look things up, get the facts. Don't just come onto my page and everything like that, just blindly spewing all the crap that you read from dim propaganda headlines. And this guy loves his dim propaganda headlines without looking anything up. 70%. He also stated and everything like that, Laura Ingraham getting fired because he read some headline about her being fired from Fox News, which was another lie that he just blindly believed without looking anything up. Mayorkas says border crossings dropped by 50% after COVID restrictions were lifted. 50%, not 70. For one, that's just right off the top. But this coming from somebody and everything that's lied for years and years and years about there not being a border crisis and blah, 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 blah. And you guys just keep buying it, because all the videos are lies. What you can see with your own two eyes and everything like that is not truth. Still, the Homeland Security Secretary cautioned it's too early to tell whether the migrant surge has peaked since Title 42 expired. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said Sunday that the number of encounters along the southern U.S. border has dropped by half since COVID restrictions were lifted last week. Over the past 2 days, the United States Border Patrol has experienced a 50% drop in the numbers of encounters versus what we were experiencing earlier in the week before Title 42 ended. At midnight on Thursday, Mayorkas said on CNN State of the Union. Wow, so 2 days, huh? Well, maybe it had something to do with letting everybody in before it expired. The 1,500 troops they sent down there to process everybody. So maybe that could have something to do with the numbers dropping for 2 days because you done let everybody in. Still, he continued, it's too early to tell whether the migrant surge has peaked. It is still early. We are in day 3, but we have been planning for this transition for months and months. And we have been executing on our plan, and we continue to do so, Mayorkas said. It is too early, but the numbers that we have experienced over the past 2 days are markedly down over what they were prior to the end of Title 42. On Monday, Blas Ninos Nito, the Assistant Secretary of Border and Immigration Policy at DHS, told reporters that despite the drop in numbers, he was mindful that smugglers would still look for ways to take advantage of the change in border policy. Nunes Nito also said more than 24,000 Mexican migrants have been sent back into Mexico since the lifting of Title 42. 2,400. And they was encountering 10,000 a day. Since Friday, he said hundreds of other non-citizens, including Venezuelans, Cubans, and Nicaraguans, have been returned to Mexico, and DHS has sent thousands of migrants, including single adults and families, back to their home countries. He also noted that actions by some Latin American countries may have contributed to the decline in numbers. In recent days, said Nunes Nito, we have seen Mexico and Guatemala have deployed large number of law enforcement and military personnel to their southern borders, and Panama and Colombia undertaking an unprecedented joint effort to attack smuggling networks operating in Darien Gap. So once again and everything, it's nothing that the Dems are doing. It's what other places are doing. And they're just trying to take credit. Oh, hey, illegal immigration is down by 50% in 2 days. 2 DHS officials told NBC News that there are over 21,000 migrants in CBT border processing facilities, putting the centers just over capacities. The number is down from 27,000 reported right before the lifting of Title 42, but still over 18,500 capacity for border processing centers. The officials say CBP continues to rapidly release migrants into the U.S. with notices to appear in court, which we also know that is false and everything, that a lot of them are being released into the country with no court dates. Blas Nunes Nito today told reporters that so far no one been released without a court date pursuant to Florida court order, because they're like, you're not releasing these people into the country. So congrats to DeSantis on that one. The end of Title 42, the COVID border restrictions known as Title 42, implemented by Trump administration in 2020 and continued in the Biden administration until they expired late Thursday. The restrictions allowed both administrations to expedite expelling migrants without asylum hearings. The Biden administration had tried 3 times to lift the restriction in recent years, but it was thwarted by legal challenges from Republicans, who argued that lifting Title 42 would increase the flow of migrants, strain the immigration system, and pose national security risk. Because they locked our country down. We couldn't even go to loved ones that were dying and everything like that, or visit them in nursing homes, but they allowed sick people to go into nursing homes and allowed massive illegal immigration into America while locking us all down without even testing them to see if they was positive for COVID. So they took our rights away and everything like that, but let people just freely come into the country. That should piss off everybody. In the weeks leading up to the lifting of Title 42, the Biden administration braced for what was widely expected to be a record influx of immigrants across the U.S.-Mexico border. Mayorkas said Sunday that Border Patrol had about 6,300 encounters along the border Friday and about 4,200 on Saturday, a significant reduction compared to the number of undocumented migrants crossings that were stopped before Title 42 ended. So about 2,000 different, because like I said, they let most of them just come in before that crap. 2 DHS officials also indicated Saturday that daily migrant crossings had roughly halved since the pandemic restrictions ended. There were roughly 11,000 on Tuesday and Wednesday and 10,000 on Thursday, the official says. 11,000 to 10,000. Okay. Before Title 42 was lifted, some Democrats expressed skepticism about whether the administration was prepared for an increase in the number of asylum seekers. Senator Chris Murphy, D-Com, Connecticut, said Sunday that Title 42 had to be lifted by law because the pandemic is over. Well, the moment the Dems got in, the pandemic was over because they used it and everything to win an election, to manipulate people. Because the moment the Dems got in and all that, they started lifting restrictions, trying to get the economy back on, trying to get people to go back to work, that they was paying more to not work than to work. Because it was all a manipulation scheme. And guess what? Listen to any Dem supporter and all that, they bought it all without question. In an interview on NBC News, Meet the Press, Murphy also defended President Joe Biden's handling of the border issue and criticized Republicans who had complained that he didn't do enough to manage it. Well, no, yeah, they did away with Title 42. They let that expire. They did away with the stay in Mexico policy. They scrapped the border wall being produced and built. Yeah, Dems did everything and all that to allow illegal influx into America in massive numbers. The only COVID restrictions Republicans seem to want to keep in place is the one that keeps people that don't look like them from coming into the United States, Murphy says. Now, how racist is that? Seeing that, all groups of all backgrounds support Republicans. But, whitey bad and everything like that. That's the whole thing that they always want to try to focus on and everything to stir up their base for blind support. Mayorkas last month called for congressional support to fix the broken immigration system before Title 42 was lifted, demanding legislative reform to assist administration's efforts to secure the border. The border was secure when you got in there. You guys destroyed it all. Now you're worried about securing it after you let 5 million illegals in? We need resources for it all. Remember, the resources will enable us to move more quickly. Not in stopping illegal immigration, on processing them into the country. With a broken immigration system, he said, the House passed a GOP-backed bill to address immigration at the border last week, the day COVID restrictions at the border were lifted. The legislation known as the Secure the Border Act of 2023 would mandate the Customs and Border Protection hire enough Border Patrol agents to maintain a staff of 22,000, deploy a plan to upgrade technologies to make sure agents are well equipped. It also would require the Homeland Security Secretary to resume construction of the border wall, a centerpiece of former President Donald Trump's administration, which the Dems hated all that crap because it actually secured the border. The bill is unlikely to become law. Democrats who oppose it hold slim majority in the Senate and the House. White House issued a veto threat this month. So, yeah,